release the gang stuff here now. The number one is Chang Gang. They great roleplay person.
Well, chat. What's like the
any update to the DOG MD?
I can't watch 2 hours. What's like the hot spots? Oh, wait, hold on. It's not 2 hours.
Went to the hospital. I'm gonna go finish him off. And going to finish the gunfight, we're going to do some COD lobby shit talk. And that's next up.
Let's just skip around.
What is next for development on Prodigy
Bear with
Roleplay?
my ADHD.
Right? Because right now what we showed is that we want to drop like a major content patch. Is that the standard for the future? How much of a cadence do we want to get on here with our content? What is the method of delivery that we want for our content? Because obviously we've had like a 3-week kind of lapse where we pushed very minimal content, right? Because we were working on this here. This is
was he talking about the migration
one of
before
these
this?
types of things where we kind of had to look at the last patch and how we dropped it and kind of determine how we want to drop patches in the future, which is what we will talk about now.
Yeah, that's why they didn't have any updates, because they were migrating their shit.
We found that dropping all of the content simultaneously was rough because people want to just burn through everything immediately, right? I think the biggest surprise for us as a development team on a GTA roleplay server was seeing how much it looked like Goldshire within the first 2 days of the patch being dropped up at the favelas. And that is definitely something that we want to avoid in the future, because what ended up happening was that people just burnt through the content so quick. We saw a lot of stuff happening, like the metagaming of where the vendors were, metagaming, some fail RP from like civilians just going up and immediately becoming hitmen. And it created this really weird dynamic where people went through a content rush even when it didn't make sense in roleplay.
Huh?
And for us, that became a real problem, right? And it just looked bad, honestly. We're changing the way we do content releases. We are going to show people the entirety of the patch.
We're going to drip them out, right?
Right? What we are going to provide in advance. And then next up, what we're going to do is we will drip that content out over that period of time, right? So just say we have a multi-piece patch. We'll drop the precursor stuff at the first week, and then we'll drop the more advanced stuff the week after, and then so on, so that there is
I think that's a good way to do it.
Slowdown of progression, right? We're going to be adopting a more traditional like game development style, like a patch cycle, you know, where it's like the 13.3, 13.3.1, 13.3.2, 13.3, you know, like stuff like that. So 1.1, 1.11, 1.12, you know, stuff like that. So we're going to be doing that
process too. Oh shit, AFK
so
check.
The way that eventually things should work is that we have content dropping every week, something that adds to the progression of the server. So that is kind of the idea that we're shooting for here. And the first place that we're going to do that is in the next patch that we drop here for Prodigy, which should be in the next week or two.
Is that why Coke slowed down? I stopped doing Coke because, well, I'll just tell you right straight up. I told them I think they did it backwards. I think Coke should have been put into a usable form right off the bat, and then there's different levels of it based on, you know, different little changes you do in the recipe. And then the second part would be the brick runs. So I think it's getting switched around. Like weed, you know, the first part of weed is into a usable form, and then later on you get the brick runs and bigger shit. Yeah, that's why I haven't really been doing it.
So that's got that out of the way. So we will have a content patch coming in the next week.
Because then once we have it in usable form in our own different, you know, it'll be like not a strain, but you know what I mean, our own little fucking mixture recipe that we sell, and we could sell that on the streets, push that, and create RP with that. So yeah, that's why I'm kind of just holding off on it. I don't really want to just go straight into the brick runs. I'd rather do the weed brick runs. We do the outdoor grows and do weed brick runs with that. Anyways, yeah, so that's coming soon.
With the content drop, that's kind of what we want to get to. Another thing I want to add here is that we are continually adding to our development team. We just took on a new development team, ScriptForge, which they have been involved in the development of some major Polish servers, as well as they have their ScriptForge shop. These guys are very good for us for a couple of reasons. They're able to conceptualize and do numerous UI asks on like a very short turnaround. Like they can do mini games in a day, right? They can mock up and design a mini game and then have that out in a day. And then meanwhile, while they're doing that stuff, they can do UI stuff. So some stuff that I can give you examples of is like they were able to scope out and design a mini game for one of the new systems. We're redoing store robberies, just so you guys know. In store robberies, we're able to redo the mini game from a mock-up and then have that executed to be implemented in the game like today, right? Crafting. We had a crafting UI. They were able to design and conceptualize crafting UI and redesign that for us for a new crafting system. So, and this is just stuff they've been able to do since they came on board in the last week, right? And some of this stuff is just still involved in some of the back-end engineering pieces. But as you can see, they're very swift in their ability to execute and get things in-game in a playable state. So, at any rate, they're a huge add for us. We also have a couple other devs we'll announce here within the week that we've also put on board onto the team. So we are continually growing and trying to put ourselves into a position where we're always executing towards a cadence for patches. The idea would be that we'd like to have like a month out of content just sitting in our GitHub. That is the goal, so that we have the ability to roll out patches slowly while we're working on the next iteration of the patch, so we can see what's happening as we're developing the next pieces. So that right there, ladies and gentlemen,
I think that's the best way to do it, right? Because it just constantly keeps shit rolling, keeps shit fresh. I think that's why we haven't seen the other bank progressions too, because I think, like you said, they redid the store, so refurbishing everything from the bottom up. So I think once those come in, we'll start seeing the other ones as well right after.
Rundown of how we are looking at our next patch and what's coming here in the future. A lot of cool things coming from Prodigy as well, in terms of that right there. So welcome ScriptForge, and we will welcome the next devs in. Over the last week in particular, a real problem with chain shootouts, right? Was it in the bud? Nip it in the bud. There you go. The things I want to point out on this, and that should already be commonplace and common sense, are the fact that you are not valuing your life in there. That is against the rules. And to that being your entire existence and you will be gone from here. Trying to avoid damage by spamming emotes over and over again. I'm going to ban. One of the big things we've seen is emote spamming in gunfights. Trying to avoid damage by spamming emotes over and over again. I'm going to ban you for that.
You're missing a bunch. Okay? I don't have to worry about fucking. I'm not gonna go out there and go around RDMing and fucking VDMing people. Okay, we're good on the rules. I get on there and roleplay.
Not a question. That's literally in the rules. If you are proning in an active gunfight, like if you
when do you ever see me
as you're getting shot at,
I don't need it.
I will ban you. Period. It will not be a discussion. That is an abusive game mechanic. It's literally written in our rules. And I don't know where people have gotten off or started to think that these things are okay if they're slipping or whatnot. We will get rid of you. There is no way. No, we can't allow that stuff on the server. Especially stuff that's written out literally in black and white. Okay, and then other people that are spamming emotes to try and avoid like taser shots, etc. Like that stuff is all going to be, you're all going to be hit on that pretty hard. At the end of the day, this is one of the most popular servers in the world right now. And the fact of the matter is, if you want to engage in that type of debauchery,
I don't recline to dodge,
or the fact that you do not have the experience in GTA to know that is not okay, either of those things are not all right, because this is not the starter server. Okay, this is not the place where you go to start roleplay. Unfortunately, this is the place where you're trying to go to once you've gotten to a point in roleplay where you're
talking about motherfuckers that spam it in the middle of shootouts to dodge bullets and shit.
And that's the way it's going to be on going forward, period. And we will be hitting hard on this. So like, this is kind of the warning bell that I want to ring for the community. That's like, hey, I understand that we've been very nice to a lot of people here, and we have that stuff is done. Okay, if anyone wants to tag, make sure you tag me in the town hall regarding server RP password. So it seems that the RP is getting more strict, more serious. House robberies will be redone. It's on our whole, well, not redone, but they're going to be there's going to be a whole progression system. Oh, there was a huge thing I forgot about. Holy shit, I'm sorry, guys.
Here we go.
Gang rep. Okay, sorry. Kedders, can you pull the top 5 gangs for me when you get a chance, if you have the ability? Yeah, sorry, guys. I forgot all about
I'm excited for? New boosting system,
I want to warn everyone that we are in the last week of our current gang rep cycle right now. And what that means is that the top 5 gangs.
So what was it? Every 3 months it resets?
Going to have
3 months?
a custom chain done
I think
for the
it's
main
good
game.
because honestly, yeah, about 3 months in, it's hold on, am I getting kicked? Oh fuck. Get back in after.
And there will be a couple other rewards and benefits that I'll post here in the coming days. And we will be resetting the gang rep with a new patch. And with this will start a redo to the progression, and we will have a added progression for gangs, for criminals, etc., like that. So it's kind of like a soft criminal reset to reset the balance of power on the server. And yeah, so this will be a big thing. We'll release the top 5 as it stands. Probably we'll release the top 10, maybe here sometime after the community meeting.
I think the top 5 or 10
we will
get
show
changed,
people
right,
where it's at, and then you guys have about a week to try and like grind that out if you want to try and get into the top 5 for a chain. I've said this all along that we're going to do this type of thing for rewards. I mentioned this at the first day I think we implemented the stuff that the top gangs at the end of this cycle will all be rewarded. And just so people know, it's always been the expectation that these gang reputations would be reset within 3 months. We've been very honest about that from the beginning. So that's a big thing. Also, there will be criminal progression and stuff like that implemented with the new patch as well that we are currently implementing at the moment. So that'll come in the next week or so. Okay. So I do have that. That was an important thing I forgot about. Any discussions on lengthening respawn timers when EMS are on the clock? UTLs account for so much of our calls. Unfortunately, that's one of those things where it is that's the same as right, because there's a lot of things out, and if someone breaches you during a jewelry bank, is that allowed? You have to be way more specific on that, my friend. Who is breaching you?
What kind of question?
Any update to the DOJ drafting, which is coming? Is there going to be any changes on rules to the COC and approving business? Seems very inconsistent and affects the RP. More content to harm. This might happen. In the last community meeting, I definitely foreshadowed this. No, to get away from you. It wouldn't make sense if they didn't. You know? It gets so silly, right? We can't tell criminals that. And I see this perspective come from cops. They've swapped 2 cars already, and they have been warned to get better at it. I don't think there's an issue. Any plans this might happen? In the last community meeting, I definitely foreshadowed this. No, cars. Event scratches on cars, not serial scratches. Does that mean we'll lose safe houses, warehouses after reset? Yes. Can you please touch on walking into houses that someone is robbing? Obviously, sitting outside the door is not good, but as far as walking into a house, I don't... Look, as long as you properly roleplay that out and you don't abuse the game mechanics to do what you're doing, I don't think there's an issue. Any plans to limit the amount of car swaps allowed? 6 to 7 car swaps in one chase seems a lot. Look, this is something people get into all the time, right? That's... The fact of the matter is that criminals are going to rat to get away from you. It wouldn't make sense if they didn't, you know? At the end of the day, what we have to get better at as a cop force is preventing them from getting into that car, which means they need to tase your ass when you're going for the car, which is something we're trying to stress to the cops, right? I don't know what's going on. Some cops are a little more afraid than other ones, more timid, and we just got to get them fucking going, right? Like we got to get them in the mindset of like, warn them, tase them. If they are in the middle of a chase, they've swapped 2 cars already, and they have been warned, don't tase them, right? Like, that's pretty much what happens here. Like, we can't tell criminals you can only swap cars 5 times.
Before this switch,
right?
like 6 times.
Come on. It gets so silly, right? We can't tell criminals that. And I see this perspective come from cops all the time. And it's like, you can't, once you start telling criminals, you have 3 car swaps, buddy. What ends up happening is that criminal is going to rat their way to the 3, and they're counting them in their head, and it becomes more about the rule of not breaking the 3 than it does about the role play. And if we get into that cycle, then, you know, look, it's bad enough
early taser coming. He said after 1 or 2 car swaps, then the cops will warn you, and if you do it again after that, then they'll probably go for a quick tase.
And fights and stuff like that, right? Because it's very stressful on people where they overthink the numbers thing, right? And they stop role play to count numbers, right? And that's necessary, but like that's the type of thing you get into when you implement hard numbers and limits on things and rules, right? Our goal should be not to do that. Our goal should be to be better and give PD better tools to be able to deal with that. And like if people have honestly, if people have suggestions on how to implement mechanics that would be better for the car swaps, like we're all for that. It's just I think for me personally and a lot of the devs, like we kind of have a mental block there where it's like, well, what else do we implement? You know, that's not like crazy. So, I mean, if people have ideas of what cops could do there, which wouldn't like overpower criminals and make them feel like all of their agency was taken in like a moment, you know, like that's something we could look at. But we've, to be honest, we're kind of at a mental block there.
I think
we have public server
cops get better at stopping. I mean, you see if you can kind of see it coming. Also, the cars are at like a stop at a certain point. Why can't a cop just quickly get out and drop spikes right in front of the car? Shit like that, box them in while they're doing the swap. I mean, yeah, car swaps, I don't know, it's just a part of the thing. I mean, what do you know? I mean, you don't want fucking people trying to get away. It's not, yes. They yelled at doing that in the past. Well, listen, because there's a balance. People have done it like right off the bat in a chase. No, you let the chase go for a bit, and then if it gets to the point where it's like, all right, then you start, you know, pulling out the aggression.
In the future, I'm not answering that question, as I said. We made clear clarification of the rules for raiding weed warehouses from a defending and raider standpoint.
But really,
I mean, we've stated clearly that
shit seems pretty good overall.
Turf, so
everyone seems to be having a good time.
Honestly, one of the rules we're going to be putting in, and I'll tell you this will probably answer most of your questions, is that we're going to any snitch mechanics or like brick runs, etc., like that, are considered initiated, right? The person that's hitting it is initiated. So, and if someone,
yeah, you don't want the aggression, and it comes into a ram fest and bumper cars. I think shit's good right now, and I think they'll adjust to car swaps and stuff like that, and get better at stopping them and all that. Just a learning thing, really. But overall, I think it's better how it is than the right now than the opposite. You don't want fucking bumper cars and slamming and fucking. I think it's healthier right now.
Someone goes near your shit, they're initiated on, right? Like, and that means they go to the back of the van, okay, or they're hitting your warehouse, like they're actively doing it. But you know, if the shitty thing is in this incident is that you have to determine that the person is the person you're hitting, right? Or it indeed is already in. But the idea is that you're already greenlit for combat in those situations. You're trying to help out with stress, police experience, and house robberies. I mean, we could look at stuff like that. You know, as the server grows, matures, those are things we'll have to look at. Any word on real estate? Yes. Any chance people in the city can request props around the city? For example, a couch on a roof where people hang out. Obviously, yeah, this stuff, yeah, like people can ask for that stuff. I think right now, though, I would like people to be very conscious of the fact that we are like heavily involved in like a lot of 3D development at the moment. And some of these things are rough for us to, at the moment, to have the bandwidth to do, because we have a lot of very large projects. Will there ever be vehicle tuning? Yeah, we've thought about it, and we'll probably look at it. But we want to do our own UI when we do it. Can we please get a new life rule? People are abusing this with back-to-back shootouts. I already answered that. I feel like I'm recycling the same questions. Are these rules on breaching other banks instead of stores of cops do not show up?
I was really loud yesterday. Oh, that was you, bro?
There are no rules on you breaching. Okay, there are. Okay, so let me answer this. If you breach someone else's heist and the cops are there and all cops have guns up and you run in past the cops, that is NVL as hell, right? You will. Yeah, that will end in a ban. I'll be honest. Like that will end. You will probably get a ban for that, right? It does super fail. Fail RP there. What I will tell you is that if you're doing that to someone, there's no cops there, there isn't like a barrier, median, you know, there's no threat on your life to be able to enter and do that, then in that case, I think it's just role play.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Non-whitelist scrub here with the popular servers basically doomed for non-supporters to join currently. I would say that if you are not supporting, the only chance that you have of an application review is being extremely active in the server, the general chat. And we've done that quite a bit. But yeah, at the moment, there is such a demand to get in the server that I cannot, with a good conscience, tell you that regularly applying is going to get you reviewed anytime the next months, barring like a major exodus from the server, which at that point, you know, something else happened. Can we get an option to change leader creator of the gang in the app? We had some problems that if the leader's not here anymore, we can't do. No, we're not. I've already said we're not doing that. When you head pop while playing is okay. Am I getting knocked up the list? People are stop reposting your questions, please, guys. Will there be any increases to the housing queue or potentially more safe house and warehouses added with the population? Yes. Can you get S. Souls here back? That'll have something to have. That happened to me as well, so that'll be something that there's a fix. Here data gets deleted in some very rare circumstances. Any major changes now that there are 50 more slots? That's a very broad question. Timac, do you want to come up on the stage and clarify what you mean there?
Timac.
Just raise your hand.
She got Timmy.
Is there a quick fix for someone having to play texture issue? Raising your texture budget. Extended texture budget is big. There he is. There's the man. Here you go, brother.
Hold. Can you hear me? Oh yeah, okay.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, so like 50 slots, like I mean that's gonna bring an influx of a lot more, obviously more action and just things happening. So obviously in the middle of the night it's not as big a deal because we're not hitting cap, but like during the day when we do hit cap, that's gonna put a lot of strain on certain parts of the, you know, whether contracts or, you know, the house robbery max limits on groups. Obviously, like business owners may need a bit more help if there's, you know, because you know there's going to be more going on. So just like different things like that. If there's going to be any adjustments on that side.
Yeah. So some of the things we've thought about and we've implemented already is with the bank system. There is like a police strength system. I had a similar thing. I had the last server I was part of, where basically there's like a floating cap or number that increases, like there's like a base cap of like just say like 20, right? And a cop logs on, they may add like +2 or +3 or plus, you know, like a number there. And basically what we did with the bank system there is that if there's an available amount of strength available, it lets the thing happen, right? So implementing more of our systems into there is going to be a big part of what we do. Another thing with so we're going to implement more of our systems in like an overall crime queue, basically, that has a little bit better math. So maybe a house robbery is worth 5 strength, right? While a bank is worth, well, let's just say 100, you know? So
okay. Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
Like a house robbery, more oftentimes than not, will be able to pop off instead of the bank because it's only taking 5 of the pie, right? It's going to be a lot harder to get the 100 of the pie.
Pizza pie. Give me a pizza pie.
That's stuff we're looking at there. For civilians and businesses, I think that's something we're just going to have to get feedback from a lot of you guys on, is in terms of like what the actual problems you're up against is. Like you gave me some feedback on the time it takes to repair a car. So that's something we're looking at as well now with the crafting update. Now we have migration done. Stuff like that, you know, where it's like, yeah, Stroke Masters is dealing with the majority of the repairs and autos, right? And they're stuck in 20-second repair loops or 15, whatever it is. Obviously halving that puts out your guys' productivity with 100 extra people on the server. So
I'm all for fast repairs. You know me, great. I fucking after 2 minutes of standing there, my guy's my car done.
Any plan for an anti-cheat system?
Honestly, someone should have brought up there's a big, okay, I don't want to bring in drama, but there's a big problem in the community. There's a oversaturation of fake Italians in the server, and I've had enough of it. I'm done with these fake, phony Italians. Can we get some authentic Italians in the city? That's all I'm asking for.
Yes. I mean, we have an anti-cheat system. The problem is that there's just some.
Can we get some Italians in the city?
In general, right? Like there's some menus out there, and I mean they've posted about it numerous times, right? So, yeah. Is there a plan to add a reputation for public defenders, lawyers? Weird question, but I thought I might ask. No. Make an inside rule for the PD. Let them shoot the tire after the third swap. No. There's no reason to shoot tires. At the point you're shooting tires, you just shoot the person.
Yeah, exactly.
And honestly, if you look at how cars still take off even when they're without it, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't do anything. And cops stopping to aim and shoot at the tire a lot of times makes them not able to get in the car.
If you have the time to hop out, shoot and aim a tire, I mean, you could just hop out and set up a fucking spike. Or shit like that, you know what I'm saying?
We implemented this outside of like the real life rationale, is the fact that if you stop to shoot the tire, then you're not getting in your car to chase it, and oftentimes they get away when you shoot tires. That was like the big thing that happened when we were shooting tires with our PD, because we did that a couple months ago. And what I'll tell you is we lost more stuff than we gained because people just get pissed off. They'd shoot the tire. They'd stumble around trying to get back in the car, and then they never get back in the car. I mean, there's probably like a handful of officers that would probably be able to shoot a tire, get back in the car, and chase the person and catch them. But I will tell you the majority of the police force is not at that level. Any plans on revising the snitch system still feels far too powerful. I don't know if it's, I mean, it's a consequence of what you're doing, right? Like the things you buy with the snitch are not expensive things, right? Like the risk to reward has to be there. We've done some limiting with the snitch in terms of like how often you get contracts, etc. But the but the idea is that, hey, you know, the idea is that you're supposed to easily lose your hangout, your warehouses, etc. like that because of the price point they're at. So if we change the snitch system, it's going to make those things cost way more, way more. Have you thought about adding an extra restart?
I think it's all it's been balancing out, and I think it's actually at first everyone's freaking like, oh my god, we lost the warehouse, oh my god, we just lost it, and then you're like, wait, it actually like helps balance the money and the gang pretty well and keeps things flowing and moving and active, and I think it went pretty good. And they'll probably tweak it as it goes, and I think there'll be more tiers of security and this, that, and the third, and you could better prepare for people snitching on your stuff. So it'll be more detailed, I think. Too much money has been an issue or something? Yeah, always. That's why it's always good to have a lot of different things draining money.
Restart? No, we're not adding an extra restart. Any way to up the storage slots in the hotel so people can stop using stash cars? That'll be fixed with my yes answer above. Any plans on anti? Got that. Or when it comes to private comment, no. My old city, you were able to break into player own houses. We did that before. A lot of us were involved in having done that in the past, and it just led to a lot of toxicity. But it's not something we're totally against. Is it possible to add a PRP radio on the server? Yes, we're going to. 300 slots in the server next week. If we catch up on cop numbers, yes. Touching on what you just mentioned about mechanics, could be something interesting, an experience system. We have progression. I don't want to talk about it yet. That's coming in the next patch. How about a gang saying they split up but still rolling together and both fighting the same gang on a war to get advantage on numbers? Isn't that some kind of exploit? I would say, to a certain degree, yes. And if you have situations like that, you should report them so that we can investigate them fully and we can give it some kind of exploit. I would say saying they split up but still rolling together and both fighting the same gang on a war to get advantage on numbers. Isn't that some kind of exploit? I would say, to a certain degree, yes. And if you have situations like that, you should report them so that we can investigate them fully and we can give an actual answer because there's a lot of nuance there. Maybe know how many personal do you have at hand for review?
A gang split into two gangs and then went after the same.
We have about 10 people. We're hiring a bunch of staff now because we didn't want to. We didn't want to dilute the quality of staff. Basically,
because that's different than like, for example, us making two parties to go out and search for people, hunting groups, versus two gangs hunting for somebody. Because then the limit doesn't apply. They can both fucking, essentially, you know what I'm saying? But they just gotta watch out for third partying at that point. I don't know. I mean, this was fucking.
Reports to be handled appropriately.
Actually, now I think about it, sometimes sound like a good idea because then it'll just be third party.
Is that it dilutes the quality of reports being dealt with. Someone leaking car restock info a week or two in advance is killing the businesses. People are like, you need to report those people because they're breaking the rules. What is being done about these gangs to have 3 or 4 people on producing mass weed but not being able to be rated because they don't have the certain number of players? Report them because I will ban them because I've already posted that. I would ban them for that stuff. That is abusing a game mechanic. Will we see changes in certain reps like scrapping, garbage? Not at the moment. Will there be a way to stop the bleeding without going to the hospital? It'd be annoying getting shot once while wearing armor when doing a boost. No, we're not changing that.
Yeah, honestly, I don't mind the whole. At first, I was like, damn, like, bro, fuck, I gotta go to the hospital for this, that. But they made the hospital very easy and accessible. You can just go in there, check in, boom. Dude, honestly, I love how the hospital works. Like, no offense to any EMS out there, but at a certain point, it's just, you know what I'm saying? It becomes tedious at times, you know? It's like, okay, I fucking got I hit a fucking invisible thing and my fucking leg's broken. You know, I don't got 20 minutes to sit here for some shit that shouldn't even happen.
The laptop to the laptop to make more developable. At the moment, it's only used for criminal activity. We're gonna add stuff to the laptop. We're probably gonna redo the UI at some point.
Gives you the option. You know what I'm saying,
the server slots going up.
There's usually like at least one doctor around, and if you want that RP, you can call the doctor over and he'll do his thing. If you say you're good, he'll just, you know, he don't give a fuck. He'll just do, you know, go work on somebody else or just go chill.
Will there be a revisit to the 5-man rule? No. Mentioning cop numbers, is there any prelude on when the next wave of hiring interviews will be? I mean, we just hired people yesterday, guys. My answer to you is if you are asking that question, you have not done the bare minimum role play to even be asking that question here. More in-depth PD roles that have been suggested, like lab techs, we'll look at that stuff. As we have a very like new police department, and adding a bunch of departments does nothing to help us, you know, grow. If you just add a bunch of departments at once, so we need to be very careful.
Yeah, the core's got to be solid
with the police force and that stuff.
The core's got to be solid.
Can we change the shooting camera to third person whilst driving bikes? No, we removed that on purpose. Who's this? Medi wants to talk. Here you go, Medi. Well, Prodigy RP have a dev academy. No, we don't have time for that, unfortunately. What's up, Medi?
Yeah, I do. So, like, let's say I want to join IRC for free rep. Can I do that, dude?
No, that is very much against the... It's very much against the server rules.
Dirty exploiter tugs.
I know what you're doing. Why are you doing that, Stanley?
Oh, my God, but so many people are doing it, dude. Please.
I don't know. Seriously, could you talk about that a little bit? About the anonymous IRCs, or not the anonymous IRCs, but rather, well, you know what I'm referring to.
Yeah. So I have Edward working on a fix for that. I asked him to do something there for me. So there's at least like, you have to be next to the boost to be able to do it. I think I'll revert it at some point. But if you guys are just giving out your group numbers and stuff, that is such, and I've had this debate philosophically with a lot of people, like, because it came so commonplace. Even like some of the best role players that I know were doing this, and I was like, why are you doing this? And it's like, everyone was like, well, it's, you know, we should, you know, it's just passive. It's like a passive boost. And like, I try to explain to people, I'm like, bro, you need to think about that for a second. You're creating passive income for doing no role play, right? And this
call
one
that out from the start.
Eating me alive, because like, there's so many people I know and so many good friends that are like great role players that are involving themselves in just taking a code, going into the group, getting the free reward, right, for the boosting. And it blows my mind, because I'm like, I don't know, this is a server culture thing that became so like prevalent and I guess easy for people to do, that people just didn't stop and think about like how like there's no role play to what's happening. And I'm sure there's role play to get the code sometimes if you like ask someone for the code, but you're not like involving yourself in the boost. You're not doing the thing, and that is bad. So you need to stop doing that. I don't think
he actively does that.
Honestly,
he doesn't even
the last time this happened, like we made a post about it. We said, do not do this. And people are still doing it. So stop doing it. All right. I have logs of the IRC. Like, the problem is that there's so many of you doing this shit right now. But if I went to go ban everyone who was involved in it,
he just has no common sense.
Bro, we'd empty out half the fucking server.
Oh my God, what about my house robbery rep, dude? What if I join the one that I see outside the...
Oh my God. This is what I always said to the group, right, chat? You guys, remember I was getting tilted at the group earlier on? I'm like, guys, we set the fucking example. You guys are doing dumb ass shit, man. With the whole FDF war and all the, you know, remember that shit?
The house robbery guy.
If they do it, everyone's going to start doing it.
That's not much better.
Oh, God.
That's not much better. I got to be honest. That's awful. So are people doing that with house robberies too? They're just joining it and not going to the house robbery?
Oh my God, I see it all the time, dude, at the house robbery guy.
God.
No, don't tell anyone I snitch it,
You
dude.
snitch ass motherfucker.
Okay, all of that is bad, guys. What the fuck? Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Yep. Thanks, Benny. Thanks
Well, I think Tug snitched on himself with the boost and shit, because I've seen him fucking get boost numbers and chat
none of
before,
that is okay. We will work on mechanics to make sure that is not the case anymore.
But I think they got a fix for all of it, so it don't matter.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I think what I might need to do is just make rep gain for...
Yeah, like Ravage said, I think a lot of people were doing that shit, so they're probably just going to have a fix for it.
It literally have to be conjoined with...
The boost one, right? They're going to make it where you have to be in the red circle to get... You know that red circle you go to to find the car. You have to be in that fucking circle to get the rep or whatever. Otherwise, you won't be count. Oh, they already did that? Okay, well, there you go. Houses will probably be like the same shit. You have to show up to the fucking house.
the loot, like selling the loot. Oh my god, that's crazy. Okay. Cool. Can you speak on people running over people in gunfights? I mean, the thing is that
I did that before.
I have to be careful with the answer to this question, because at the end of the day, if you're just running over someone and you're not under threat, that's kind of shitty.
Yeah.
Right? But if you're being shot at or being aimed at and you run over someone, you're pressing it's kind of not, you know, like at that point,
yeah.
I mean, go wild, you know, because
motherfucker shit in front of me, shooting me, I'm running that bitch over if I'm in a car.
Put the pedal, what defense mechanism do you really have? So, but if you're just going into a gunfight and just running people over, that's all you're doing.
Yeah.
You'll likely get banned for that.
Yeah, if you're playing like you're in fucking Warzone and you get one of those fucking vehicles and you're just going around running people over, not even pulling your gun out, okay.
Okay. And I think that's it. I think I'm going to end it there. I think that's good. I think we've answered all the questions we need to for today. I am going to head off. We'll talk to you guys all later. And I hope we were able to speak and answer to a number of your questions. I will release the gang stuff here now. The number one is Chang Gang. They are at 82 rep. Next up,
and we queue up with the snitch every day. What's up, bitch?
Bandits at 40. Next up is Kilo Trey Ballas at 39.92.
Oh,
They're
right
neck and neck with number 2.
Good.
Next up is Cammy at 29.1. Next up is Rat at 29.1. I think that's the Zodiacs. I could be wrong. The Rogues are next up.
80 to 40, but also remember, Prios didn't really get figured out till like maybe halfway through this 3-month season. You know what I'm saying? So they were in a lot in the beginning, and then they couldn't get in for a bit, and then I think they're good now. So their number may have been even a bit higher.
0.5. Onis at 25.
Yeah, we still got no fucking AKs. That's what I'm telling you, bro.
Gestures at 24.
It might be me. Am I cursed? I've never gotten an ATM hard drive. I've never gotten a blue sequencer. I got handcuffs today. I've never gotten an AK from the gun guy, but I did get handcuffs today, and I have gotten a few FNXs. Just in terms of AKs, it looks pretty shit.
Christmas Sicarios 24.7, and Midnight Club at 24.48.
A lot of gang names I haven't heard
11
of.
and 12 here. Static and Vine with 22s are the next two at 23 and 22. And then there's one more Bikini Bottom at 21. Whoever those guys are, I don't know.
Everyone else is pretty close competitively.
So, that's pretty much I think that was basically the top like 12 or 13 or something. And then below those is Apollos Locos and Santos Sagrados, Diablo, Sunnyvale, GSA, and Black Mamas. They're
Sunnyvale.
all like the teens just below them all.
Yeah, I knew that was a new group yesterday.
Where everything is, guys. So go out, have some fun. The who? The Bustas.
Boo!
Yeah, I don't know.
What else we got?
That really did break me. I legit don't know, man. Our good old.
Okay. That was really good. No, I think the community meetings are good. It gives you guys a little sneak peek of what's going on, what's being fixed, what's being worked on. You know, chat is. You guys have your concerns too, so it's good that you know what's coming. But I think now that they finished the whole server migration, which is why they got back on 250 slots, everything seems to be. Also, the server's been running a lot smoother, I've noticed, since then. Pockets haven't been lagging. I haven't been any issues with cars scuffing and shit. So I think now they're going to start pumping out the updates.